Go ahead, one more time. Oh, God. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. I'm gonna tell you one thing before I go. There's gonna be a time and place when your oppressor, they are going to be extinct. They are going to be under your foot. That's right. And what we need to do is our job, what the Lord requires of us. It's not an option, but it is an order. So we have to get it done. Either way, the Most High is going to make sure that this happens. You feel me? So at the end of the day, our oppressor is going to be under. He is not going to win this battle that we are fighting. I pray you my time.
Down, but y'all spirit is heavy. So for you, all right, your name is no longer going to be what it is in the world, but your name is going to be Yasakai, which means one that looks forward. You are always looking forward. You are always looking for the next venture. And that is going to take you very far in life because you never look to the past. You're always looking to the future. You're always moving forward. So your name is going to be one who looks forward. Yasakai. Yasakai. Can you say that? Yasakai. Yeah. All right. Go ahead. Okay. All right. You are going to be a comfort and a consolation to so many people because of your loving spirit. You want people to be good. So when people are going through these turmoil, to help them, you're going to help them by the love that you give. So you are no longer going to be called what you were called in the world. But your name will be Nakama. Nakama.
Show me your hands. I will not ask again. Keep your hands up.
Yahweh Shemal Atham by Shemiah Shai, priest and officer of 1,000, Sharatazah Halak, out here in OCAP, Haiti, man, OCAP, Haitian. You understand? We out here and we're doing some interviews, man. We're going to talk to our people, our Haitian brothers and sisters. We got Trooper Taza Dewan out here, man. Met up with the brother, solid brother. You understand? Solid trooper. And we just out here about to put in some work, man. All right? And, all right? Shalom.
You don't. You go ahead. You want to put the oil? You can.
That's why. Of course.
All right. So these brothers is going to repeat after me. All right. Yabaraka Yahweh.
Yabaraka Yahweh.
Wa Yashamarka.
Wa Yashamarka.
Ya'ar Yahweh.
Ya'ar Yahweh.
Punyawa.
Punyawa.
Ayaka.
Ayaka.
Wa Yakunka.
Wa Yakunka.
Yasha Yahweh.
Yasha Yahweh.
Punyawa.
Punyawa.
Ayaka.
Ayaka.
Wa Yashamlika.
Wa Yashamlika.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai.
Barak.
Barak.
Rapah.
Rapah.
Magun.
Magun.
Hagun.
Magun. Magun. You gotta say your name.
Makawar.
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 Makawar. Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai.
Hashem Yahweh Shai.
The water Aman.
The water Aman.
And what we said was, this is what I said. It said, Yahweh bless thee and keep thee. Yahweh make his face shine upon thee and be gracious upon thee. Yahweh lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, bless, heal, shield, and protect. That's what we said.
So now we got We got another young man that's coming up, young man Ant.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
So you're no longer going to be called or known as young man Ant. You are now going to be called, your name is now going to be called Lahum. That means to fight. That's a hard name, and I'm going to tell you, because, yeah, you call 2, 3, and 30 in the morning, man. That brother is fighting. You always fighting, and you always in the midst of that. Right. So, look, you taking this name, you a trooper now, all right? It's time. Once again, I'm going to give you the same thing. Look, it ain't no more late. We can't be late. You late, man. You late on the Lord. All right? Everything that we do in the ISUPK.
Something clicked. I'm glad that it clicked. I'm glad that it clicked and it turned y'all into the men that y'all want to become. Servants of the Lord.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Ready to fight, ready to give it all for your people. You understand? And y'all coming with the right spirit to keep it up. Don't let it change. And don't let nobody come right here, no Christian, nobody. You know what I'm saying? Not in your mama, not in your daddy, none of them. Aunt, grandmother, don't let them change your mind.
Damn right. No.
Let's get this brother right. Anointing. See, he a brother. He know who to bite and who not to bite. Boy, he's crazy.
All right. That's it.
You got it? Hold on. I think I got it on my phone. Give me 1 second. I got you, brother. These brothers are going to repeat after me, and then when you're prompted, you just repeat your name 3 times, okay? All right. All right. Yabaraka Yahweh.
Yabaraka Yahweh.
Wayashamar.
Wayashamar.
Yar Yahweh.
Yar Yahweh.
Panyawa.
Panyawa.
Alyaka.
Ayaka.
Wayakunka.
Wayakunka.
Yashar Yahweh.
Yashar Yahweh.
Panyawa.
Panyawa.
Alyaka.
Ayaka.
Wayashamlaka.
Wayashamlaka.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Bashem.
Bashem.
Yahushua.
Yahushua.
Barak.
Barak.
Rapah.
Rapah.
Magun.
Magun.
Hagun.
Hagun.
Lahum.
Laham.
Lahum.
Laham.
Lahum.
Laham. Bashem Yahushua.
Yahushua.
The water Amad.
The water Amad.
And of course, what I said was Yahweh bless thee and keep thee. Yahweh make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. Yahweh lift up his countenance unto thee and give thee peace. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, bless, heal, shield, and protect.
All right.
There's one west. 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 There's one west.
Fuck the victim. But they think it's fuck. They showing themselves. They're holding themselves every motherfucking day. Love you guys. But you need to do more and more to understand what the fuck going on out here. I love that for you guys. Thank you, brother.
There's one west. 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 There's one west.
The white man, you understand? Every oppressor in this earth makes money off the back of your slavery. You understand? They take your money and it goes within their neighborhoods over 20 times before it even leaves. Ask me how long does the Black, Hispanic, and Native American dollar stay in the community? Not even an hour, man. Right. Because by the time you step home, you giving your money to another nation. When you go to a gas station to get gas, you giving your money to another nation. Hell, you don't even have your own water supply. How can you say you free and everything that you get is from an oppressor? Everything that you get is from a foreign nation. You produce nothing, but you are the biggest commodity. We have $1 trillion buying power. The only way that we get our independence is what I'm voting out, man. that he is called for is for his people to turn back to their wisdom in the sight of the nations, man. Stop voting for slavery. Matter of fact, give me Isaiah 31, and this is gonna be my last scripture. You have to stop voting like what the brother brought out earlier was so heavy. If you continue to do the same thing over and over again, it's insanity. You understand? Kamala, they asked Kamala Harris a direct question. They asked her, what do you plan to do for the black community? You know what her answer was? She said, anything we do for all communities will benefit black people. You understand? Anything that we do for all the nations will benefit black people. But when they asked her about the situation in Israel, she pledged to donate $1 billion to Israel to help with their military, to help with their infrastructure, to help with their hospitals. You understand? They do not care about what happens in the barrios, in the hoods, and in the ghetto, man. Read.
What's this? What the hell is this? Who the hell let somebody on my field? This holy ground. 1969, we broke this dirt. Oh yeah. The hell is this? You mean to tell me somebody wants to be a Hebrew Israelite? What in the hell is going on?
How about shoot out shot by the thug?
How about shoot out shot by the thug? Hold on, I feel something. Wait a minute.
Serious, and you're looking for a Christ man, the one who anointed with the Lord, with the Spirit of the Lord, to do His will. I'm that nigga.
One West, 125th Street. Look, y'all put your faith in presidents like they gon' change this country. Win the league and let y'all play cause y'all gon' make a money. Fuck Obama, he ain't come here on Coco.
Amazing honor don't like no soldiers. For the spirit of the Lord, we don't like no soldiers.
Black, Hispanic, Native, they hate y'all as the same. Hate Christ and they image, paint you as a slave. God ain't all love, scriptures say he hate. African soft niggas, they know we not the same. School to prison pipeline to get you off the street. Put you in the cell, fully connected to the saint. Molested as a kid, she prostituted as a teen. The byproduct of Martin Luther King dream. They just took the yoke off, my nigga, we ain't free. We living bleak in these wastelands of poverty. If you don't know the truth, then the lie sound promising. Prophecy, gift and the curse. Dylan started killing, they was sitting in church. Black folk forgave him, man, this shit is absurd. You should never love your enemy, that shit ain't gon' work. Yeah, fuck dying on your knees, you better die in glory. Man, I joined the UPK, taught me the art of warring. I took a nigga life like mine to be recognized. I feel that pain every day, it can't be reconciled. Pops banging, my sister a prostitute. My brother got life, and somehow I still found the truth. War ready, no cowards, no excuse. Fuck reparations, you can't bandage no open wounds. Blood on the leaves, body swing hung from a noose. I was on a run in Nashville and I found the truth. I called the school, classes being held by the shock on my life. I want to be a gangster like a cop. Do this for my brothers, real brotherhood. Everything we do, we got it out this book. My nigga, I can never be no African. UPK the only authorized acronym. I'm passionate brothers and sisters. We in hell, I ain't got nothing against them. That's another religion. If it ain't under your honor, ain't he murdered by them and got a hug from your honor. That's the way out for a coward in my observation. They don't fear the Lord, they indoctrinated. Wolves in sheep clothing, Joe Osteen. Real priest bringing back black royalty. One West on my headpiece, ranking order. Can't let them trick me off the streets, I gotta raise my daughter. I got brothers at the border ducking ICE agents. I got the name change, it was life changing. My family thought it was a game, put on all black, they said I was going through a phase. It's more of us in jail than it was slaves.
Somos la Escuela Israelita del Conocimiento Práctico Universal. Hoy estamos aquí. Saludos Comandante General Yohana na ESPK. This is what Commander General Yohana did. This is what he did.
First camp, I cut off all my dreads. I took an oath when that oil hit my head. Niggas capping like they lids. I'm a priest, I never stick no fork in no pig. I was dead till I found out how to live. This brotherhood taught me how to be a man. I came back to my roots, I had to dig. A couple gaps I had to bridge. I got a rib, I'm married to this work. You wanna serve the Lord, he ain't in the Christian church. I had to dig.
That's right.
You wanna serve the Lord, he ain't in the Christian church.
Yeah. Clap it up, Israel. That's right. Shalom, Israel. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Barakathon to my brothers. Yahweh Shamar Latha Ba'Shem Yahushua to my sisters. I'm Priest and Officer 500 Radav, the ISUPK, under Command of General Yohana, and this is Tuesday night's biblical law class. You understand? Oh, Salak, hold on, bear with me 1 second. Why is this not on? Hold on 1 second. Let me see. One second. Salaki just had a little technical difficulties over here on StreamYard, but we ready to rock and roll. You understand? So once again, I'm Priest and Officer 500 Radav, the ISUPK under Command of General Yohana, and this is Tuesday night's Brotherhood class. You understand? The water for those who are tuning in on TikTok. You understand? Give yourselves a hand. If you got any questions, feel free to type them in. Make sure you understand. This is my second time doing live on here, so listen, like the video, thumb up the video, share it. You understand? Well, at the same time, we're also streaming live on StreamYard too as well. So if you see me looking back and forth at y'all, I'm navigating back and forth from TikTok and on StreamYard. You understand? Because I'm also streaming on Facebook and on YouTube. Okay, so tonight's topic, Blacks and Hispanics and Native Indians are all Israelites. You understand? Which means what? We are family. Bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. You understand? We are biblically related according to the seed of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right. And it's very important in our history and in our records to understand not only of us knowing who we are, but also who your family is tied to by bloodline. You understand? Nowadays in the Black community, we all have that one aunt or we all have that one grandmother, you understand, who's always keeping up with our family tree. You understand? Everywhere you go with them, they point out, hey, that's your cousin so and so on your daddy's side. You understand? Over there, that's your uncle. You know what I'm saying? That's your auntie. When you bring somebody over to the house they haven't met before, what's the first question that they always asking? Who is your people? Who is your people? Are you kin to so and so? Oh yeah? Well, where you from? Oh, what school you went to? Where you stayed at out here? You from here? Where you stayed at? What block you from? Oh, what's your mama name? What's your father's name? What's your daddy's name? You know what I mean? Like we running through all these questions down with each other so we'll know if you're one of us. You understand? And this whole concept of understanding who your family are is passed down from generation to generation to generations. You understand? It's always been like that. And what's interesting about this topic is most Blacks, right? They never questioned or thought about if we were actually related to Hispanics or related to the Native Indians. You understand? All we know is from the street life. For those who have been affiliated with any type of gang-related activities, you understand? It'll be difficult for you to understand that, and it's difficult for you to wonder. You understand? Now, in the Christian church, when I was coming up in the world, right, I didn't think nothing of it that Mexicans or Hispanics or Native Indians were related to Black people till I came in the ISUPK. I thought we were completely separated from them. You understand? And with all the information and all the wisdom from the 7 heads that built this school, passing it down to Commanding General Yohana, right? And from him passing it on down to us and so on and so forth, that we got this knowledge, you understand, right here in the Bible. And when I learned some of the history of our Hispanic and Native Indian brothers and sisters, right, they went through the same oppression and they went through the same struggles like we also went through. In fact, some were worse than others. We all had the same judgment from the Most High in Deuteronomy if we disobeyed the Most High God. You understand? And when those scriptures got broken down, before I even became an officer to teaching the truth, it all started to make sense. You understand? Now I work with quite a few Hispanics from past jobs that I've had. All right. And what I noticed when I had conversations with them is we all had something in common. You know what I mean? Aside from our differences, we knew we had a common enemy. And that common enemy that we had was our oppressor, which is the devil that the Bible speaks of, which is what we've been teaching since 1969. I didn't know that much, and so did they. And every chance I had to chop it up with my brothers, it was the same struggle. Man, they working us like a slave. You know what I mean? They don't ever work them like they work us, but they pay them more to only do half of their job. You understand? I can't afford to live on my own. When I got hired on, I asked if they needed more help. I told them my cousin Hector could start tomorrow. And he got on, then he brought Raul, then he brought Diaz. You understand? That's why we all stay together and we all ride together. Like the stereotype of seeing Hispanics always together. They're doing what they got to do to get by, just like Black people on food stamps in the ghetto. You understand? We just trying to survive out here. Well, guess what? Like any new brother or new sister that come into the school, right? One of the first thoughts that come into mind when you're coming out of the world is, why are we going through this? You understand? How do we end up getting here? Because I refuse to believe that our purpose for being here on earth is to go through this kind of hell, right? And for somebody to tell me that I'm going to hell because I'm not saved and I'm not a Christian. Those reasons for the Lord oppressing us the way that he has are what we're about to read right now. So the first scripture that we're going to get tonight is we're going to pull Deuteronomy 27 and we're going to start at verse 1. All right. We're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 27 and verse 1. All right. And it reads, Deuteronomy 27 and 1. It says, and Moses with the elders of Israel commanded the people, saying, keep all the commandments which I command you this day. So now this is Moses speaking with the children of Israel, right? He's giving them instructions declared by the Lord to keep all the commandments which I command you this day, right? Now, a major event took place prior to Moses having this discussion with the children of Israel, right? The Lord delivered us out from the hands of the Egyptians, freed us from our captivity in Egypt. And since that day, we celebrate this tradition every year by attending the Lord's annual Passover, which is also what in this verse? A commandment. You understand? Meaning this wasn't an option. This wasn't, this wasn't something you decided whether or not you wanted to go to it or attend it. This was a command from Moses and the elders of Israel that we are to apply here on this earth to this day. Everybody understand? These laws were established long before Moses, all right? Traced all the way back to Adam. And from his lineage on down to Noah and his 3 sons, right? From Noah to his 3 sons and his family. This commandment was given from the Most High through the elders, the same way we're getting instructions today through the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana. This wasn't an individual discussion that Moses was talking about. This was to the children of Israel, to a whole nation that he said this to. Everybody understand? So now let's drop this and we're going to go to Deuteronomy 28 and we're going to start at verse 1. Everybody understand? So now once again on TikTok, for those who are tuning in, who are watching the live, right? If you have any questions, feel free to drop the questions in the comments, right? And I'll get to them and answer them for you. All right. So now we're going to go to Deuteronomy, the 20th chapter, and we're going to start at verse 1. This is Deuteronomy 28, verse 1. It says, and it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. So if you listen and be sincere, if you humble yourself, right, you hearken diligently to the voice of the Lord. You understand? And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and do all of the commandments which I command thee this day. You understand? If you obey and do what he tells you to do, this is what the Lord is going to do for us. The Lord said that he will set us where? The Lord thy God will set thee on high. You understand? He didn't say make us the same. He didn't say that we were all created equal. You understand? The Lord said above all nations of the earth. You understand? What is a nation? A nation is a race of people, man. Being over other nations is rulership. Okay? When you put a nation over another nation, that is rulership. That's not equality. That's rulership. Now, who is a nation that is set on high today? Because we want to prove who are the children of Israel today. Our oppressor is above all nations right now. You understand? This race of people go against the opposite of the Lord's statutes and commandments. So then how are they ruling over us if the Lord just said if we observe and keep the commandments, we'll be above all the nations? You understand? The so-called Caucasian, right? He's not an Israelite, okay? He is an Edomite according to the Bible. You understand? An Edomite and an Israelite are 2 different races. They're 2 different nations. You understand? The Edomites descend from a man called Esau. You understand? Which is the twin brother of Jacob. All right. The famous story of Jacob and Esau. When their mother Rebekah was pregnant and they was wrestling in her womb, the Lord foretold a prophecy about these two boys that were fighting in her womb because they was giving Rebekah stomach pains. You understand? And the Lord said, 2 nations shall be in thy womb, 2 manner of people, which will be separate from thy bowels, which means one is going to behave this way, the other one's going to behave that way. This one is going to go over here, the other one is going to go over there. They are not going to be the same. They are going to be the exact opposite. You understand? One will be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. That was the prophecy foretold to Rebekah before those boys were being born, before those boys were delivered. You understand? Esau created a lineage in his bloodline called the Edomites. You understand? Which are the so-called Caucasians today. Jacob, whose name later was changed to Israel, became the progenitor of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, hence the name Israelites, son of Israel. You understand? Yasha'Allah, prince of the power. That is who we are, and that is who they are. 2 totally different nations, 2 totally different people. You understand? They don't follow the commandments of the Most High. Why? Because Psalms 147 verse 20 says, the Lord has not dealt so with any other nations. As for his judgments, they have not known them. And right now, they are holding our seat in power. Everybody understand? What are some things that this oppressor promotes that goes against the Most High God, right? What does our oppressor promote that the Lord disapproves of in the Bible? Our oppressor promotes alternative lifestyles. You understand? Alternative lifestyles. Our oppressor promotes us eating pork, eating swine, eating shrimp, eating crab, eating lobster. You understand? Promotes your birthdays. What else does he promote? Abortions. You understand? Voting, right? He promotes this way of life because he is the devil that the Bible speaks of, taking on the spirit of America. You understand? Following after its ways through corruption and wickedness is the reason why we're out here suffering and being unalived. We always had this issue from the beginning, right? Think about our children that you're raising in this hell that we're living in, right? These kids out here are so young, and yet they're being exposed to do so much. You understand? We got our young daughters that want to be the next Cardi B, that want to be the next Ice Spice, the next Lotto. You understand? The next Megan Thee Stallion. You understand? These young boys that's coming up without a father figure to look up to, they're being inspired by who? They're being inspired by the next upcoming hip hop artist, right? They get paid to write these songs about your oppression. So when you hear it, you're justified with a purpose to continue rapping. You understand? You're justified with a purpose to continue trapping. You understand? Being a what's the word I need to say? Being a supplier, okay? Being a supplier in the streets. Why? Because they're doing it in the rap songs, or they did it till they started doing music to where they didn't have to be in the streets anymore selling product in the street, if you get what I'm saying, right? You come in the ISUPK, we'll put you up on game. Why get into a business for them to make money off your oppression when you could come in here and teach your people how to come out of oppression? You understand? You can come in here and teach your people how to come back to your own culture and to your own laws, our way of doing things. Why? So we can remain a separate people from this kingdom. You understand? Now, the first 14 verses talks about the blessings for obeying the Most High. You understand? And for time's sake, we're going to skip down to verse 15. So those who are joining in, we're in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and we're going to skip down and start at verse 15. because the first 14 verses describes the blessings you receive for obeying and keeping the commandments of the Most High God. So now we're going to skip down and we're going to read verse 15. Verse 15 says, "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee." You understand? These curses, these afflictions, you understand? The suffering, the hell is going to overtake you. It's what this is saying. If you don't want to listen and obey these commandments, there's a list of curses that the Lord is going to send against the children of Israel. And we're about to read one of the curses. Let's get verse 16. It says, "Cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field." You understand? What does it mean when it says, "Cursed shall thou be in the city"? Well, when you look in the cities and you look among blacks and Hispanics, right? We don't own anything in the city. Why? Because we're a cursed people. That's why we don't. These fast food restaurant chains, these clothing stores, the grocery stores, the gas stations, the oil rigs. You understand? Transportation, right? All of it should be under your control, black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man. Why? Because we're supposed to be above all nations. The other nations are supposed to be looking up to us as the wise, as us being the example to set the foundation and the structure on how the society should operate. It's supposed to be us. But because we've been disobedient, not obeying what God said to keep, and as far as his commandments, that's why we're not in rulership. That's why we're not running anything. That's why we don't have power. That's why we don't have structure. That's why we don't have, you understand, our own government. You understand? That's why we don't have any of it. Because of our disobedience, we're subject under these other nations. You understand? Now we have to go to them for everything. We have to beg them for better wages. You understand? We have to go to them for better, affordable health care. You understand? We got to go to them for student loan forgiveness. They've been out of school for over 10 plus years and still paying back tuition. You understand? In our kingdom, it won't be like that. As a matter of fact, let's hold what we got and let's pull Deuteronomy 15:2 real quick. Let's go to Deuteronomy 15:2. Speaking of student loan forgiveness, right? Because obviously when you paying a tuition, that's a loan. Any loan that you borrow, right? You got to pay that back plus interest. Did y'all know that that's actually in the Bible where it talks about interest? Now, the biblical name in the Bible, it's called usury. You understand? But we're gonna read it right now. This is Deuteronomy 15:2. It says, "And this is the manner of the release. Every creditor that lendeth aught unto his neighbor shall release it. He shall not exact it of his neighbor or of his brother, because it is called the Lord's release." You understand? So, you know what? Let's start at verse 1. This is Deuteronomy 15 and verse 1. It says, "At the end of every 7 years, thou shalt make a release." So now right here it's saying every 7 years, thou shalt make a release. Now the next verse is going to describe what the release it's talking about. All right. This is verse 2. "And this is the manner of the release, that every creditor that lendeth aught unto his neighbor shall release it. He shall not exact it of his neighbor or of his brother, because it is called the Lord's release. This is a law. You understand? This is a law to do forever. As long as that there are poor brothers, you are going to lend to them. You understand? And in the 7th year, you're going to release them from their lease. That way they will never be poor. You understand? Now, think about it if we put this law in effect today. If we were in rulership. You understand? Think about some top names like Jay-Z. Okay, you got Jay-Z, you got Oprah, you got Tyler Perry, you understand, P. Diddy. Well, I don't even want to use him, you understand? But think of moguls in a position of power with a lot of money, right? These are your black moguls bringing in a lot of money, okay? Now, pay attention to this. I'm going to use Jay-Z, for example, right? Let's say Jay-Z, right? He gave 10 brothers, okay? 10 brothers a $50,000 loan to start a business, okay? That's $500,000 that he loaned out in total for those 10 brothers at $50K a piece. All right. So now with that business that they establish themselves and then they grow their business. Okay. And every year they pay Jay-Z $5,000 a year for 7 years. So at the end of them 7 years, Jay-Z is collecting how much money? $35,000 from each brother times 10 for each one. 35K times 10 brothers paying that back to you over a period of 7 years, right? That's $350,000 that he would get back. In essence, all he lost was $150K. You understand? But think of the 10 black businesses that grew from that. And in 7 years, those businesses would be making who knows how much money. Only $150,000 investment loss. Brothers blow that on jewelry. Brothers blow that on grills. They'll blow that on a brand new car. They give $150,000 to one of their side chicks to go blow on whatever they want. Listen, man, after working 7 years, you should be in a position where you made enough money to no longer have to work for anybody else. With a system like this, it shouldn't be no need for billionaires. You understand? Why do I have to be a billionaire when every 7 years, the people who working for me, I'm giving them an opportunity to own part of what I got, to give them more of an incentive to work harder, an incentive to be better. That's how we're supposed to care for each other, man. There's no reason for there to be poor among us if we follow and obey what the Lord told us to do. This is the Lord's release, man. Now this only applies to the children of Israel. You understand? This applies to the children of Israel, where you don't have to pay interest on what you borrow. The biblical name for it is called usury. Now, how do you apply this to someone that's not an Israelite or to another nation? Because guess what? Those other nations, they can borrow from you too. They can borrow from you too. Why? Because they're going to need money too, just like you needed money from time to time. Is there a scripture on how we deal with loaning to other nations? Yes, it is. We're finna read it right now in the next verse. Let's read verse 3. This is Deuteronomy chapter 15. We're in verse 3. It says, of a foreigner thou mayest exact it again. That which is thine with thy brother, but that which is thine with thy brother, thine hand shall release. You understand? Meaning this right here. What the Lord is saying right here is you can continue charging interest on another nation as long as you like. The amount that you take from them is up to you. But when it comes to your brother in the 7th year, you release the remaining debt that he owes you. Now, reading these few verses right here should excite every Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, man or woman, to want to be in a position to rule like this, because taking care of your people the way that it should be done is exactly what the Bible is saying, how we're supposed to do it. But here's the problem, though. Here's the problem. The Lord took this away from us because we didn't do what? Because we didn't do what? Let's go back to Deuteronomy 28 and read verse 15 again. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 28 and let's reread verse 15. It says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Verse 16, cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. So again, the example earlier about my Hispanic brothers on the job that I told y'all that I work with, right? We simply doing all this hard labor, right? Working damn near for free, okay? You go to your supervisor, you would think all the work you've been putting in, right? All the work that you putting in, you showing up to work on time, you stay late if you need to, you don't complain, you understand? You make things easier on your boss, stepping up to do what you got to do, right? With a work ethic like that, that deserves a raise in itself, right? Because your work speaks for itself, right? You go in this office and you ask them and you go, hey boss, you think maybe if you get a chance to speak with your boss, right, in your next meeting, could you mention to him about, possibly, bumping my pay up a little bit? You know what I mean? And that boss gonna look you in the eye and say, I'll see what I can do, right? So now you playing the weight game, right? You play the weight game long enough until your patience just runs out to go seek employment elsewhere. Why? Because you've been waiting and you still ain't got it. And he had several meetings after you told him to mention about you getting a raise. Didn't say nothing, right? The scriptures say in Ezekiel 35:5 that our oppressor has a perpetual hatred against the children of Israel. He's not trying to give you no more than he have to. I'm just keeping it real with you. Y'all know this, okay? For those who have been oppressed, listen. For those who work those slaveries where it's very difficult for you to get a raise on your job, you understand? They're not trying to pay you no more than they have to. He don't give you enough to sustain, but gives you enough not to quit. Because why? Cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field. Everybody understand? So now let's drop down to verse 32. Okay? So now once again, we're going through the curses that were going to come onto the children of Israel if we didn't obey and keep the Lord's statutes and commandments. All right? So now this is Deuteronomy chapter 28, and we are at verse 32. All right? This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 32. It says, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand. Now, when did this specifically happen? This specifically happened when our sons and daughters were given to another people. You understand? This happened when we were in captivity. Okay? When they were auctioning, I'm trying to be mindful of what to say. Because I'm not sure if I can say the N word. When they were auctioning black people, you understand? So-called African Americans. I'm gonna just say that, okay? Because I'm unsure if we can use the N word for teaching purposes on TikTok, okay? So I'm gonna say African Americans for time's sake, all right? When our oppressors were auctioning African Americans for sale, right? They were pulling us from our wives. They were pulling us from, our children, okay? They would snatch up our daughters. They would snatch up our wives, and they would they would SA us. You understand? They would SA our wives. They would SA our daughters. Okay. If you was a field, African American, and that happened outside on the plantation, guess what? There was nothing you can do about it. There was nothing you can do about it. And if you attempted to be a hero to save your child, if you attempt to try to be a hero to save your wife, they were going to unalive you, and they are going to unalive the rest of your family. Thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long. You understand? And there shall be no might in thy hand, meaning there's nothing you'll be able to do to save them, man. Just gave them over to the oppressor to have their way with them. You understand? Now this goes on today. It still goes on to this day. Think about everything. Think about everything your children is being exposed to. Okay, now when I was coming up, right? When I was coming up, there were certain movies and certain music I couldn't listen to. You understand? There were certain people that I couldn't hang around. You understand? I couldn't be around grown folks when they were together. You understand? I was told I had to separate from them. You understand? Because children had no business conversating amongst a group of grown folks. You understand? All in grown folks' business. You understand? I'm 10. What am I doing being affiliated with grown folks talking about whatever it was they were talking about? I was separated from them. You understand? And at that time, I didn't understand it at a young age until I got older. And then I appreciated why I was kept away from those things. These kids coming up in this generation, though, man, everything is out there. Everything is out there. You understand? You can't tell them nothing. They don't want to listen. They think they got life all figured out because you old and you don't know what you're talking about, or you don't understand what they're going through. You see it right before your eyes that it's just a matter of time before they get taken away from you. They're either going to turn into criminals or they're going to turn into Salakia, y'all. I'm so used to just saying what I want to say, but I'm trying to be mindful on TikTok. You're either going to get turned into criminals or women are going to become promiscuous women. That's a word. Promiscuous women. Okay? You're going to be up all night, stressed out. You understand? On medicine. You understand? You're going to be, you're going to be depressed. You're going to be praying where you went wrong, raising your children. You understand? They just grew up and got away from, they just grew up and got away from you and don't know what to do about it. You understand? And in spite of your anger, you'll blame this all on the Most High. That's what you do. You'll blame it on the Most High. And that's what every Christian does. You understand? You get the Lord his props when it benefits you. But as soon as something is taken from you, it's the Lord's fault that it happened. It's his fault. Or you blame him for, you blame the Most High God for how your life turned out. Not understanding why we're going through these curses, man. We're reading it right now about the horrible things that'll happen to us for our disobedience. You understand? The Lord don't, keep this in mind. Like, the Lord don't take pleasure doing this to his own children. The Lord don't have no pleasure doing it. He don't want to do it. You understand? The Lord is a just God. He's not an unrighteous God. He's not an unrighteous power. Every time we were oppressed and we cried out to the Lord, he raised up a priest, right? He raised up a priest and prophet to deliver us out of the hands of our oppressor. And when he lived out his years and he passed on, we turned on the Lord again. We turned on the Lord again. And because we turned on the Lord again, guess what he did? He put us right back into captivity because we hard-headed. And we kept crying out to the Lord. The Lord sent another priest and prophet. He delivered us from the hands of our oppressor. We got some peace temporarily. Then guess what? After that priest and prophet, you understand, he lived out his years and he passes on. Guess what? Now we turn on the Lord again. When you read those stories all throughout the Old Testament, especially Judges, oh my goodness, do you know how many? I can't even count how many times you see the same pattern. Another priest get raised up, save us from this captivity, under the power and authority of the Lord. Then when he dies out, when he gets unalive, and another man comes up in his place, we turn on the Lord again. It's just a never-ending cycle of us always turning against the Lord and getting put back into captivity. The only stiff-necked people that's this effing hard-headed to go against their own God, the one true living power who every nation would unalive for to be serving. You turn on him freely because you rather serve your enemies than serving the Most High God. There's only one race of people that does that, and that is the children of Israel. How do we know this? Hosea 4:6 says, my children are destroyed for lack of knowledge. What you see before your eyes to this day is a bunch of foolishness that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians have been doing since the beginning. It is a reason for that. If you see a people that's destroyed, they lost their identity, they don't know who the hell that they are, they're a part of other they're involved in following after other gods, they're following after different customs, following after different traditions, following after someone else's holidays, following after another person's dress code and wardrobe. You understand? Their feast days. That's our people. You understand? That's our people. If you ask us who we were before we came over here, they're gonna tell you they don't know. They'll say they don't know. They're gonna say, "Oh, well, we came from Africa. We lived in Africa, so we Africans." Not knowing that being an Israelite and being an African are two totally different tribes. They're two totally different people. You understand? One is Hamitic, one is Shemitic. The difference is, if you go over there to Africa, there's over 50 countries in Africa. Africa is a continent. So you go over there to Africa, how the hell you going to find out who your tribe is? How you going to find out what tribe you identify as? They got tribes over there in Africa that don't get along with other African tribes in Africa. You understand? Don't be confused. Don't get it twisted with the facade that you see in Africa. Like, oh man, it's a beautiful country. Oh, it's the motherland. That's where we all came from. I love to go back and visit one day because that's where I'm from. That's my homeland. It is not your homeland. It's not your homeland. You go over there to Africa if you want to. You're gonna find out their true identity and who they are, and you're gonna find out real soon that you have nothing in common with them. They have nothing in common with you. The only time they're going to say that they have something common with you is if you coming over there to give them some money. Giving them some money so they can keep raising up their country, so they can keep raising up their buildings, so that they can make sure they have businesses over in their land while you're still struggling with nothing. But yeah, you think you're the same as them, and you are not. You are not. When we were on them ships, when we were on them boats, when we was on that transatlantic slave trade, it said that they sold African Americans. You understand? Not Africans, not Hamites. You understand? They sold the N-words. The N-words were for sale. Those are not Africans. The N-words are two totally different people. Don't get it twisted between us looking alike because of our skin complexion. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. You understand? The Japanese and Chinese, they look the same to us, but they can tell themselves apart. If you took a Japanese, a Chinese, a Korean, a Asian, you put them all together to somebody that don't know any better, you'll think they're all related to each other. But someone that knows exactly who they are and knows exactly who their lineage is, they'll take offense to saying, how dare you tell me that I look like him? We don't look the same. We are different. We are the opposite. We are rivals. You understand? We are rivals. But yet you can't tell the difference because to you, you will just compare them based off their complexion. You understand? But they are not the same people. You understand? So now let's keep going. Let's drop down to verse we're in Deuteronomy 28, and we're gonna drop down to verse let's drop down to verse 48. All right, let's drop down to verse 48. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 48. It says, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. You understand? Now remember, this is a curse that we're reading, right? This is a curse. The Most High sent these nations to overtake us because of our what? Our disobedience. You understand? We are at the mercy of these heathens, man. Meaning what? Okay, we don't own any food factories. We don't control the price of food either. Do we not? We don't control it. We depend on other nations for clothes. Do we not? We depend on them for clothes. We don't own the textile factories on the national trade market. We don't own that. I mean, you got your small businesses that do, but not on national level worldwide. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to go to them for everything. We got to go to them for food. We got to go to them for water. We got to go to them for clothes. We got to go to them for housing. We got to go to them for transportation. You understand? We got to go to them for jobs. We got to go to them for insurance, a loan, for maintenance. We got to go to them to start a business. That's why in Egypt, when we were in the wilderness doing all that complaining to Moses and Aaron, the children of Israel came to the sense of understanding that Egypt wasn't that bad, even though they oppressed us hard. You understand? They was okay with being subject under another people. And as long as they were able to receive what they asked for, they tawab. They fine. They fine. This was a curse to Israel. We're not supposed to be okay with living as second-class citizens, man. Why? Because the Lord didn't put you on this earth to be second class. The Lord put us in charge to be first, above all nations. You understand? We supposed to be in rulership. They supposed to be coming to you in one of all things, not the other way around. This is why also you got Jakes and Uncle Tom sellouts. You understand? Who sold out to our oppressor. Why? Because they accepted they can't live without the guidance of our oppressor. They don't want to separate. They want to stay joined in with them. And if they do, guess who they're not leaving behind? They're not leaving behind our oppressor. If I'm going somewhere, Master coming with me. The scripture says, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. You understand? Anybody can recollect photos from slavery of the so-called black man, Hispanic, and Native Indian man with yokes of iron around their necks. You understand? How we got shipped around on the ships. You understand? In the cotton fields. We tried to escape our captivity, right? And in us trying to escape, they put shackles on us and they put chains on us. You understand? And they had this wooden board that was on our neck to demobilize us from escaping. You understand? These things line up exactly to who we are in the Bible. You understand? That blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, they are the children of Israel. We are the chosen people. The Lord said that they were going to do that until we were destroyed. And now that we're destroyed, right? We don't know our culture anymore. We don't know our customs. We don't know our laws in the Bible. We don't know what language we spoke prior to coming over here in America. You understand? We don't know who we are. We don't know our identity. We're unfamiliar with the law, statutes, and commandments. You understand? And now that the shackles are physically removed and the iron yokes are physically removed from our necks, in our mind, we think we're free. In our mind, we think we are. Meaning, you free to be another nation. You're free to be in a heathen. You're free to be in, you understand, a Gentile. Until you realize when you start walking and living like an Israelite according to the Bible, though, you ain't free, man. You're not a free woman. But as long as you're walking around like a Gentile or a heathen, you're standing up to the national anthem with your right hand over your heart. And then you're going to do what? You're going to celebrate Christmas, man. You're going to celebrate New Year's. You're going to eat pork. You're going to eat shrimp. You're going to eat crab. You're going to eat lobster. You're fitting in with this world just fine. You understand? You're proud to be an American, to stand up as a man, to walk as somebody in the UPK, that you'll realize in Babylon, you ain't free. You got to fight to gain that freedom, man. You got to fight to come on top of all the heathen nations. These religious leaders and politicians are in a seat of power, looking out for themselves. They're not looking out for you. They're looking out for themselves. They're not worried about the ghetto. They're not about they're not all about, building up a nation and bringing Israel back together. They don't care about none of that. Why? Because they're following after the world. They're following after our own oppressor. And in the ISUPK, we follow the men before us that laid these laws, statutes, and commandments out for us to live by. We following Commander General Yohana and all the generals, the men of integrity, the men that believe this truth and live this truth. That's what we're following. You understand? And that's what Christ stood for, because that's what Christ followed. Christ followed the commandments and kept the commandments. That's what made him perfect. You understand? Christ came here 2,000 years ago to teach us the spirit of the law on how to keep it. You understand? Because keeping the law and understanding the spirit of the law is what made us perfect. Everybody understand? All right? Let me see what time it is. So now I'm a little over my time. You understand? I'm going to cut this short. You understand? So the water for tuning in, which means thank you in Hebrew. Appreciate each and every one of y'all who have joined, who have tuned in, who have liked the live. You understand? Lord willing that you guys Lord willing you guys tune in next week for a Brotherhoods class again. You understand? The water for those who have tuned in on Facebook and YouTube, for liking and sharing the video all across the platforms. You understand? So with that, this will conclude tonight's Brotherhood class. So we're going to cut the class, and I'm going to say Barak, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Barak Atham. What I just said in Hebrew was, may the Most High bless you in the name of Christ. Yazmatah means hands down. I'm going to give a courtesy salute to the sisters. Barak, Yahweh, Shamar, Alatham, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. And what I just said was, may the Most High watch over you in the name of Christ. Yazmatah means hands down. Class dismissed. And with that, I say shalom.